Welcome to the Couples Communication Challenge. Hi, I'm Dr. Rick Marks. You know, I've got a PhD in counseling psychology, a master's in marriage and family therapy. I have another master's in religious education. And I was an LPC, I was an LMFT, I'm a clinical fellow with the AAMFT. I'm also an ordained minister, REV, CIA, UFO, EIEIO. You're right, I got a lot of letters behind my name. But you want to know something, folks? The reason I do what I do has nothing to do with my academic background. It has to do with the fact that I grew up in a broken home. I'll tell you more about that in just a minute. You know, over the next 7 days, I'm going to show you how you can heal your marriage and strengthen your marriage by learning the secrets to healthy communication. Now, I know some of you may be thinking, my marriage has been struggling for years. How can you, Dr. Rick, help me in 7 days? Let me explain. Studies have shown that the greatest predictor of divorce is how couples communicate and how they solve problems together. If you and your spouse don't communicate well and solve problems together well, your divorce risk of about 90%. Over the next 7 days, I'm going to teach you some simple and powerful communication secrets that can literally transform your relationship. It doesn't matter where you are in your relationship currently. Maybe you're newlyweds and you're still in that honeymoon phase, you know. I like to call that la la land. Maybe you're married and you have kids and you're juggling work and a growing family and your marriage and your relationship. Maybe you're a blended family, a remarried couple, and you want to make sure that this marriage doesn't end like the last one. Or perhaps you're on the verge of divorce and or separating and are scared you may be close to the end and you don't want to be. Wherever you are in your marriage, I want to invite you to lean in and take a step forward. One of the secrets to healing your marriage is knowing what to do and what not to do. And in today's class, I'm going to teach you about 5 mistakes that are killing your marriage. Over the past 30 years, I have taught at hundreds of marriage events and served thousands of couples at different levels of marital distress. I'm proud to say that about 85% of the couples who came to work with me after officially filing for divorce were still married a year later. This is what one couple had to say about working with me.
We thought we had a good marriage, but ended up it wasn't so good.
Now, after 27 years, I was cheating, and our marriage wasn't very good.
It was a horrible, awful, painful time in my life and in Jerry's. And I mean, when Rick walked with us, ripping off wounds that were really obvious and ones that weren't so obvious. And not only did he help us rip off the wounds, but he also taught us a lot about things that we didn't know about ourselves and about love and about communication and about healing and forgiveness. And today, 8 years later, 7.5 years later, we have the most incredible, astounding marriage of anyone we know.
I'm here to tell you that you can heal your marriage as long as you learn the secrets to healthy communication. I know, because I healed my marriage. That's right, I grew up in a broken home. I grew up in a home where there was abuse, where there was addictions, and a lot of craziness. My parents divorced when I was about 4 years old, and my dad married my stepmother, and I was raised by my dad and stepmother. My dad had an anger problem, and when I was around 10 or 11, my dad bought a cow prod and used to shock us. We always lived in fear of him, and sadly, my stepmother had her own wounded heart, and really, the only message I really got from her growing up was, you're not good enough, you don't matter. I didn't grow up in a healthy home, and when I left home at age 18, I joined the Navy and left home, though I was chronologically an adult, emotionally, I was still a child. And I didn't handle conflict in healthy ways. I dealt with conflict in unhealthy ways. Well, I ended up getting stationed in Jacksonville, Florida, where I ended up meeting Luella. It took some convincing, folks, but she finally agreed to go out with me. I was a young sailor back then, as I told you, and where was my first date? I took her to McDonald's. On the way back from dropping her home, I remember thinking to myself, I don't know what love is. I really never saw it, never experienced healthy love. I never felt it. I never saw it growing up. I never got to experience it. I never saw it between my dad and my stepmom. And I told God when I was driving home after I took her to her house, I told God, if what I'm feeling is love, then I loved Luella. 7 months later, we were married. I was so excited because I married the woman of my dreams. I just knew my life was going to be different than the toxic environment I grew up in. I finally had someone who would love me unconditionally, respect me for who I was, and show me the affection I always wanted. What I soon discovered was, well, it didn't respect me for who I was, and in fact, was trying to change me into somebody else. She tried to control my life. She even tried to control what I would eat. And she wasn't very affectionate towards me. So we started fighting, and I mean fighting a lot. I was resentful of her, and she became resentful of me. This was not the marriage I had signed up for. Then one day I realized all the fighting wasn't getting us anywhere. I couldn't change her, and she wasn't going to change me. The only way I was going to heal my marriage was if I became the spouse who could create that marriage for himself. I had to change me. I learned how to communicate, how to solve problems, how to deal with my anger in healthy, mature ways. I learned how to speak up even when all I wanted to do was to run away. I discovered the relational skills I'd been missing my whole life. And you know what happened? We stopped fighting. Our love for one another deepened. Our intimacy and friendship deepened. Our passion for one another deepened. I finally had the happy marriage I always wanted. But I wasn't about to keep these secrets for healing marriage to myself. So I began to teach others what I learned. After working with thousands of couples, I discovered that anyone can heal their marriage. Listen, folks, if they know what to do. Around half of all marriages end in divorce, but it doesn't have to be that way. The good news is you can learn the right way to communicate with your spouse. And that's why I'm hosting the Couples Communication Challenge, so I can teach you the secrets to healthy communication so you can heal your marriage. In over 30 years of marriage counseling, I've identified 5 mistakes most couples make that can kill their marriage. The first and most serious mistake that may be killing your marriage is trying to win an argument. That's right, number 1, trying to win an argument. Folks, most people want to win an argument at all costs. Why? Because Western culture values individualism, not connection. We would rather win an argument than have a relationship. Immature people seek to win at the expense of others, while mature people seek a win-win. When we put perspectives together, we have understanding. This creates relationship. The second mistake that may be killing a marriage is not listening. That's right, you're not listening. Folks, hearing is passive. When I hear you, I'm not paying attention to you. I'm preoccupied with other things. I can be in a room and hear music playing, but I'm not listening to the music. Listening is different. Listening is intentional. When I listen to you, I seek to understand you. I show empathy towards you. Love listens. Research has shown that when our heart rate reaches 100 beats per minute, we lose the ability to start to listen well. In a fight, our heart rate quickens and we begin to talk over one another. We are literally talking to a wall because our partner has lost the ability to listen. Now, the third mistake that may be killing your marriage is, are you ready? Talking down to your partner. This is when you attack them, you belittle them, you show contempt for them, you disregard them, you invalidate your partner, and you're constantly critical. You treat your partner as he or she is defective. You call them names, you threaten them, you roll your eyes or act like you're better than him or her. The fourth mistake that may be killing your marriage is getting defensive. That's right, defensiveness. Folks, when we feel attacked or vulnerable or feel the need to protect ourselves, we often get defensive. This can manifest itself in counterattacks, blaming, making excuses. People who tend towards defensiveness are often unteachable and are not easily influenced. And the fifth mistake that may be killing your marriage is, number 5, are you ready? Avoiding conflict. While some people will attack when threatened, others avoid or withdraw. That was me. At the first sign of conflict, they bolt either physically, emotionally, or mentally. What I used to do, you see this, I'm like, oh no, here we go again. It's like I'm pulling away. You know, you might be afraid of conflict, or you're simply trying to keep the peace. Or perhaps you've tried to be hurt again and again and been ignored one too many times. Whatever the reason, avoiding your partner damages your relationship. Avoidance will create a power struggle in time. Now, some of you may be thinking, my marriage is in real trouble. I'm making all 5 marriage mistakes, Dr. Rick. While others of you may be thinking to yourself, we're not doing so bad. We're only making 1 or 2 of the marriage mistakes. In whichever camp you're in, I want you to know that there is hope. Anyone can heal their marriage as long as you know what to do differently. And the key word in that sentence is do. Your marriage will not change if you don't change what you do. Now, it's time to see who truly wants to heal their marriage. Below this video, you'll find a link to a short exercise that will help you evaluate your marriage. So right now, I'd like for you to complete the worksheet together with your spouse. If you're alone or if your spouse is not doing the couples communication challenge with you, that's okay. I did a lot of things early on in my life without asking my wife to join me. Complete the exercise on your own. Then I'd like for you to post your worksheet in the Facebook group with a comment or question about the class. If you're really brave, you can record a short video instead of just leaving a comment. Why do I want you to post in the Facebook group? Because the first step towards healing your marriage is to acknowledge the problems you have in your marriage. Don't sit back passively and let this opportunity pass you by. In our next class, I'm going to teach you my happy marriage formula, which is the exact formula I use to heal my marriage and the marriage of thousands of couples just like you. We're releasing the second class of the Couples Communication Challenge on Wednesday. So keep an eye on your email and the Facebook group so you don't miss out. Folks, thank you so much for your attention, and don't forget to leave me a comment below. And I can't wait to teach you more secrets to healthy communication. Hi there, Dr. Rick here. Thank you for watching this class all the way to the end. This week, we are going to have 5 couples communication challenge events to help you heal your marriage. If you actively participate and watch each class or Q&A all the way to the end, I will give you a secret word. If you get all 5 secret words and invite at least one person to the challenge, you will qualify for our VIP list. Next week, I will conduct a live bonus couples communication challenge class over Zoom. Only the VIPs will be invited. So make sure you participate this week. All right, you ready? Here's today's secret word. WHEN. W-H-E-N. That's it. I'll see you tomorrow.